Assalamu alaikum. Kcse 2017. Topic ni matrices. A construction company employs technicians and artisans. On a certain day, 3 technicians and 2 artisans were hired and paid a total of 9,000 shillings. On another day, the firm hired 4 technicians and 1 artisan and paid a total of 9,500 shillings. Calculate the cost of hiring 2 technicians and 5 artisans in a day. So we are first supposed to form equations. On the first day, 3 technicians and 2 artisans were hired. They were paid a total of 9,000 Kenya shillings. On another day, the firm hired 4 technicians and 1 artisan, and these were paid a total of 9,500 shillings. Calculate the cost of hiring 2 technicians and 5 artisans in a day. So let us first get the cost of hiring 1 technician in a day and also the cost of hiring 1 artisan in a day. Let us form matrices. The coefficient of T here was 3. The coefficient of A was 2. In the next matrix, we shall place our variables. We had T and A. Now remember that when we are multiplying matrices, we apply the rule of rows from the first matrix times columns in the second matrix. So if we read this equation, it shall read 3 multiplied by T plus 2 multiplied by A. And we know here from our original equation that 3T plus 2A is equals to 9,000 shillings. So rows times columns. And then in the second equation we can take 4T plus 1A. Remember again we're going rows times columns. So 4 times T plus 1 times A is equals to 9,500 shillings. So on the other side we are going to write 9,500 shillings. Remember, when multiplying matrices, we need to know the order of the matrix. This here had 2 rows and 2 columns, so it's a 2 by 2 matrix. The second matrix had 2 rows but only 1 column, so it's a 2 by 1 matrix. When we multiply a 2 by 2 matrix with another 2 by 1 matrix, what we see is that the number of columns in the first matrix was equal to the number of rows in the second matrix. If it is that way, we can multiply. If they do not match, this one and this one here, if the number of columns in the first matrix does not match the number of rows in the second matrix, then we cannot multiply these matrices. And then what will our matrix answer be like? The number of rows in the first column and then the number of columns in the second matrix. So it will be a 2 by 1 matrix. Remember, we can only multiply if the number of columns in the first matrix matches the number of rows in the second matrix. And then when we multiply, our answer shall be the number of rows from the first multiplied by the number of, as an order, it will be a 2 by 1 matrix, 2 taken from the number of rows in the first column and 1 taken from the number of column in the second matrix. So now we have made our matrix. We can multiply, or we can pre-multiply with the inverse on this side and on this side, so that we get rid of the coefficient matrices. So our coefficient matrix was here 3, 4, 2, 1, and then in front of it we had our variables matrix, which had T and A in it. On the other side we had our results matrix, which was 9,000 and 9,500. I'm leaving some space before it because I'm also going to utilize this space before on the other side. What I add to the first side will also be added to the second side. What am I going to add on the first side? On the first side, I will add an inverse to this matrix. because when I multiply the inverse times the matrix, I shall get the identity matrix, and the identity matrix times this matrix here we shall just give us the variable t and a. So all these matrices I'm adding on the left hand side will get lost, will disappear, and we shall only remain with t and a on the left hand side. So that is the significance of adding an inverse before this coefficient matrix. What is the formula for inverse? Formula for inverse is 1 over determinant times the adjoint. How do we get the determinant? Leading diagonal minus trailing diagonal. 3 times 1 is 3, 2 times 4 is 8. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. So 1 over negative 5 here, 1 over negative 5 on the other side. Adjoint on this side. On the other side we shall also place enough space for an adjoint. And then what do we do here? In the leading diagonal, 3 and 1 will change position. 1 will come here, 3 will come here. So 1 and 3 have changed positions. And then 2 and 4 will remain in their position in the trailing diagonal, but they will change signs. So 2 will become negative 2 and 4 will become negative 4. What we wrote on the first side, we have to write on the other side. So here 1, negative 4, and here negative 2 and 3. Remember that we are pre-multiplying on the first side, so we should also pre-multiply on the other side. You can watch our video on multiplication of matrices if you do not know the difference between pre-multiplying and post-multiplying. Now let us multiply. 1 over negative 5 shall remain where it is, but this matrix and this matrix shall be combined to form a new matrix. And then t and a is still where it was. On the other side, 1 over negative 5 shall be left outside, but this matrix and this matrix shall be combined to form a new matrix. Now we can go ahead and multiply our matrices until we arrive at the answer. So rows times columns. Row times column. 1 times 3 plus negative 2 times 4. 1 times 3 is 3, and negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. Okay? Now, the second row from the first matrix, where we have negative 4 and 3, will be multiplied by the first column in the second matrix, where we have 3 and 4. So negative 4 times 3, which is negative 12, plus 3 times 4, which is 12. Negative 12 plus 12 is just 0. Next column, so top row multiplied by the second column. 1 times 2 is 2, plus negative 2 times 1, which is negative 2. When we take 2 plus negative 2, we get a 0. In the final space left, we take the second row from the first matrix multiplied by the second column from the second matrix. So negative 4 times 2, negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, and then plus 3 times 1, which is 3. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. We have finished multiplying on the first side. Let us now go to the other side, where our answers shall come from. Rows times columns. The formula is the same. 1 times 9,000, and then plus negative 2 times 9,500. You can use your calculator and try to click on the is equal sign only once, so that you do not have problems with BODMAS. You can use brackets if you feel uncomfortable or if you feel not confident enough. So 1 times 9,000 is equals to 9,000 plus negative 2 times 9,500 is negative 19,000. When you take 9,000 plus negative 19,000, that is the same as taking 9,000 minus 19,000, which shall leave you with negative 10,000 shillings. In the second row, negative 4 times 9,000 is negative 36,000 plus 3 times 9,500 is 28,500. How did I get that? 9 times 3 is 27, and then 500 times 3 is 1,500. 27 plus 1,500 is 28,500. Okay, negative 4 times 9,000 is negative 36,000 plus 3 times 9,500 is 28,500. When we take negative 36,000 plus 28,500, we shall be left with negative 7,500. Negative 7,500. Let us complete our working out. 1 over 5 times 5 is just 1. 1 over 5 times 0 is just 0. 1 over 5 times 0 is 0, and 1 over 5 times 5 is 1. Remember that our negative signs will cancel out because they are both on the outside and on the inside. And a negative times a negative gives us a positive. So 1001 TA is equals to, on the other side, 1 over 5 times 10,000 is equals to 2,000 shillings, and 1 over 5 times 7,500 is equals to 1,500 shillings. So we know that a technician, which was T, technician is paid 2,000 shillings, and an artisan is paid 1,500 shillings. That is the cost of hiring a technician and an artisan. We have completed our working out. We know how much a technician is paid and how much an artisan is paid. But perhaps we have not finished reading our question. Let us go back to it. We were told to calculate the cost of hiring 2 technicians and 5 artisans in a day. 2 technicians and 5 artisans. Now that is supposed to be easy because we already know the cost of hiring 1 technician and 1 artisan. So now we can say cost of 2 technicians. So instead of a technician, we shall say that 1 technician is paid 2,000 shillings. We can replace that in our equation. So 2 technicians and 5 artisans. But 1 artisan is paid 1,500 shillings. So now we can take 2 times 2,000, which is 4,000. Add that to 5 plus 5 times 1,500, which is 7,500. When we take 4,000 plus 7,500, we shall get 11,500 shillings. And this is the cost of hiring 2 technicians and 5 artisans in a day. I hope that was understandable. The matrix equation, the matrix method of solving simultaneous equation is normally tested for around 5 to 10 marks. Here it is 3 marks because we could use any method we want. Simultaneous method, the elimination method, the substitution method, the graphical method, any method we chose to use. But we chose to use the matrix method because we had enough space here to show you how it's done from start to finish. Remember, the important part is that when you have your matrix here, you add the inverse before it, because the inverse times the matrix shall make the matrix disappear, and then we shall just be left with T and A. You can confirm that by taking this identity matrix here, multiplying it with this variable matrix here. 1, 0, 0, 1 times TA shall just give us T and A. And I hope you have understood what we were trying to teach you. This was the matrix method. We are here at Safina High School. You can get us on WhatsApp. Our normal number 0717 588 568. We are based in Kenya, so if you need to add the country code, you shall add +254 at the beginning of your number. So +254 717 588 568. Otherwise, I hope we have understood each other. Until we meet next time, we say Ahsantum.